Hi everybody, it's Martin here again. Going to go out today with a new camera that I bought before Christmas. It's the Bronica SQAi medium format camera. Shoots 6x6 negatives. It looks a really nice camera. I bought this from the Latent Image, the shop's called, and I can say the service on one was great, and the camera's just as good as they describe, so I would recommend that store. So the place that I'm going to go with the camera, because I've never used it, I only bought it, as I say, a month ago, to a place just at the back of me. It's about a mile away, walking distance, and it's called Gill. They built a wall to dam some of the water from this stream. I think it was to serve a mill that was there many years ago. That's long gone now, but the weir still remains. And after we've had a lot of rain, the water pours over the top of this wall, and it does make a really nice waterfall. So my intention today, because I've been there many times before, is to try and think out of the box a little bit and take some pictures a little bit different. So this time, rather than photographing the whole waterfall, I'm going to keep that waterfall in most of the pictures if I can, just a suggestion of the waterfall, but concentrate more on the flow and the texture of the water. And I can test out the 80mm lens on the Bronica. This is the 80mm lens. It's a really nice lens, and work with the depth of field on it. Medium format cameras and lenses, you can get this really nice soft out of focus. So that's my intention. So I'll pack my bag now and have a walk down. It's quite dull where this, it's right in the bottom of the valley where this little stream is, which I think at the moment will be a raging torrent, so I'm going to have to put my wellies on today. And because it's the weather's not right bright, it might help me get these at slower shutter speeds that are required to blur the water. I usually try to work round about 1/8, quarter of a second. I don't like it to go like this milky effect. I like to see the flow of the water, but I like to see the texture in it as well. So I'll get the bag packed and set off there and see what we can come up with. Right, I'm just going out today. I'm a bit fed up of stopping in, so I'm just having a walk down the path at the back of where I live to a man-made waterfall at a place called Gill, and see what I can come up with. I'm going to take the photographs with a medium format camera today, and I'm using my Bronica SQAi camera with a standard 80mm lens. So see what we can come up with. Everything's so boggy at the moment. Sometimes it's worse than walking on ice and mud. So slippy. It's been some rain. I don't know if you can see, might not be able to see it from this bit on the hilltops there, covered in snow. This used to be the old Otley to Menston railway line. It's not been used for many years now, it's just a lovely walk. This is one of the bridges that takes you over to the other side of the valley. they call an access bridge. It's clouding over a little bit now, and where I'm going it's even darker than where we're stood now, but in some ways that might work to my advantage, because I want to get this waterfall some flow, movement in the water, etc. I've got 100 ISO film in the camera, and hopefully I can and I want to work with the aperture quite wide open, so hopefully this duller weather will allow me to get the slower shutter speed. So as I say, it might work to my advantage. We shall see. It's absolutely horrible underfoot. I don't think I've ever known it as boggy as this. Careful, don't slip. Whoa! Nearly. So this is a man-made waterfall, Gill. I think it was made to provide power for some sort of mill along here. I think further down there was a mill, but it's been long since knocked down. But it's quite a spectacular waterfall. It's in a quite noisy area because we've got the main Bradford Road just above it. You see the vehicles going down. So I'm going to try and get some different photographs of this and use some motion blur in the pictures and try and work with the depth of field on the medium format lens. As I say, I'm using the Bronica SQAi camera today with the standard 80mm lens. So we'll have a little scout round and see what sort of compositions I can get. But to be so careful in this ground, it's so slippery. Normally this is just a trickle of water coming down. The amount of rain we've had over the last few days really turned it into a full-blown waterfall. My idea as well is to try and get across this small stream to get some angles from that side as well, from the other side. For this photograph, I'm going to use the depth of field scale on the lens. I'm going to shoot at f16 and then move the infinity to the f16, and that means now I've got depth of field from roughly about 4 feet to infinity. So hopefully I'll get this foreground in focus and the waterfall. So I've just metered in the shadows, placed on zone 3, and the exposure is 1 second, at f16, so I'll take the exposure. Lock the mirror up. I wanted to photograph these really dark rocks down there, but fortunately when I get closer to the waterfall, the spray from it is just wetting the lens through, so I'm not going to be able to do that. I might try and get into the middle again in the stream and photograph these near rocks and throw the waterfall out of focus. I won't get all the waterfall in with the 80mm, but it might make an interesting shot, so I'm going to try that. So if you can hear me, that exposure was 1/8 of a second at f5.6. Photographed on that rock there and through the waterfall out of focus, or part of the waterfall. As I say, I can't get it all in. I'll just have a look now, see if I can see another composition, but the light's starting to go a little bit. I'll see if I can find something else. Just gonna try another shot. This time I'm gonna use a wider aperture. Yeah, 1/4 of a second at f4. So lock the mirror up and set the shot. That's that one done. Sometimes you've got to experiment, as I say all the time, and just see what works best for the photograph. I think that one at f4 will probably be the better one actually. We shall see. Good job I come out of my wellies today. Right, might just take a close-up, well, I say closer shot of some of the swirling water in the puddle, see if I can find something. Right, I've found a composition for a close-up of the water, and got the camera set up, and then I'm photographing this area here. So I'm going to have to take an instant light reading now and get the exposure, because I say the lights are getting really dim now. So get it set up and take the picture. I'm going to go for half a second f11. And that's the last shot. There's one thing I found about the Bronica that you have to remember to do, and that is when you lock the mirror up to take the picture, always remember to put the mirror down when you wind on, because if you don't, the mirror stays up in the locked up position and you can't see what you photographed, you can't focus or do anything. So I'm going to have to remember every time I've locked the mirror up to push it down before I wind on to the next exposure. Otherwise, it's been quite a good experience with this camera. It's the first time I've used it, and it's been a baptism of fire really in these conditions. It's very slippy, there's a lot of mist in the air from the waterfall and that, but it's been enjoyable. So I'll get home now, get these developed and see what they turn out like. Right, now it's a little bit quieter, away from the noise of the waterfall. Just a few thoughts on the Bronica SQAi camera that I bought before Christmas. It's a very nice camera to use. You can't sometimes help but comparing medium format cameras, and if I compared this to say the Rolleiflex 3.5F that I own, I think the Rolleiflex is a quicker camera to use, in the fact that it's quick to load. The wind on is very smooth, so is the Bronica, but it automatically winds to #1 and take your exposure and then wind on again, and you've no problems with it at all, having to remember to take dark slides out, etc, etc. One of the problems that I did encounter, which I found difficult, when I took the last shot with the Bronica, trying to focus it at that angle through the waist level finder was quite difficult, and I had to really try and get me well into boot in the picture so I could actually see something to focus on, because you know it's very difficult with moving water. With the Rolleiflex, there's no problem with that, because you can use the Rolleiflex at eye level as well as waist level, using that wonderful viewfinder that they have. But you know, at the end of the day, the Bronica is a modular system, and you can buy finders, prism finders. You can buy unmetered ones or metered prism finders. So you know, it's only a problem if you don't have the correct tools for the type of camera that you own. The other thing that I did find a little annoying, I keep in mind this is the first time I've used this camera, is when I was doing the longer exposures, you know, it always pays you to flip the mirror up out of the way, because you've got this big mirror that flips up and the exposure's taken, it causes vibration. So up the side you've got a lever that will lock the mirror up, and then you take the exposure and you've just got the leaf shutter moving, so there's virtually zero chance of vibration. The only thing I forgot to do was, once I'd done that, and then without thinking, I wound the camera on again with the mirror up in the locked, in the up position, and I couldn't see anything because the mirror was in the way. So I had to waste that shot and push the mirror down and then wind on again. I suppose the answer to that is just getting used to working with the camera, knowing that when you've taken a photograph with the mirror locked up, always remember to push it down. It's a pity the camera didn't have a manual way of pushing the mirror down, but it doesn't, so it's just something that you've got to remember. The other thing, you know, comparing with the Rolleiflex, once you put the film in, that's it. With the Bronica you can change the film back, so I could have gone out with black and white today, which I did, or colour, or colour slide film, and then just change the backs as and when needed. Now you can't do that with the Rolleiflex. The only problem I find with the back on these cameras is at the bottom of the camera, near the back, near the bottom of the film holder, there's a little button, and when the dark slide is actually in the film holder, if you press that button, the back will come off. So I would always advise, if you go out with these type of cameras, and I think it's the same with the Hasselblad, once you've loaded the camera, take the dark slide out and don't put it back in unless you're going to take the back off or you've finished the roll of film, because it reduces the chance of you pressing that little button, pull it, and the back coming off, and that wouldn't have been ideal where I was today in the stream. Would have ruined the day for me. So they're just little things. The focusing, as again say, the Rolleiflex, there's not a lot of difference. A lot of people play heck about the Rolleiflex viewfinder, but I find it's absolutely fine to focus with. It's got a grainy look to it, but it's easy to use. This one, marginally not as easy, but I was viewing at 2.8, not like on my Rolleiflex at 3.5. But all in all, it's been a good experience with it. I've enjoyed it, and I'll probably do a full review of the camera, although there is loads online at the moment of the Bronicas. But I'll give my own little review of after a few months use of what I think to the camera. The upside of the cameras like the Bronicas and the Hasselblads and your RB67s is not only can you change backs, you can change lenses. These are things you can't do with, say, a Rolleiflex TLR. So that's it, the end of the video. I hope you've all had a very nice Christmas and you're looking forward to a better new year like I am. Now, if you've liked the content of the video, please give me a like, or better still, subscribe to my channel. And once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Right, before I actually do go, I just thought I'd share some information for other Bronica users. Now, when I was out taking the pictures at the waterfall, I encountered a problem, a user error by me, but I'm sure it's happened to other people using this camera, where you focus and compose, lock the mirror up, take the picture, and then wind on to the next frame, and the mirror comes back up, and it stops you from taking the next picture because you can't see through the viewfinder. The mirror's blocking it. Now, I couldn't think of any way to get the mirror down when I got into this scenario, so if there's any other Bronica SQ users out there who know of a workaround, please let me know. But first of all, I'm going to show you the actual problem and the way I think that you can get around it without wasting frames like I did. I think I wasted about 5 frames because of this, and I have to take responsibility for it, because I should have remembered to put the mirror down before I wind on to the next frame. But it's something that not using the camera, you know, it's quite easy to forget. So first of all, let's have a look at the problem. I'll show you the side of the camera first. So that's the side of the Bronica, and this is the mirror lock-up lever. When that's pushed upwards, the mirror is locked up, and it means when you take the picture, you've got a lot less vibration. Now, what I've been doing, and this is where I've wasted the frames, let me just show you. Let's say, for argument's sake, I've composed and focused the picture, and I've locked the mirror up, and I take the photograph. What I've been doing is this. I've forgotten to push that lever back down before I wind on to the next frame. So see what happens. So wind on to the next frame, and the mirror comes up, and I can't take that picture because I can't see through the viewfinder. So what I simply did was just waste the shot and wind on to the next frame with the mirror lever down. The workaround for this, after thinking about it, is to use the lens cap. Put that on the front of the lens, stop any light getting in, and then take the photograph. No photograph's been registered because there's no light getting in, and then push that lever down so the mirror will go down when I wind on. But the crucial part is to use this lever, and that is the multiple exposure lever. When that's pressed forward, it disengages the winding mechanism from the film back. So if we push that forward, cock the shutter again, and we're back to where we were on that last frame, which I didn't waste. And then put the lever back up, and you're back to where you were before, and then take the photograph. Now, the best way or the correct way of using this camera is, if you're going to take a picture with the mirror locked up like that, take the photograph, and then always push that lever back down, wind down to the next frame, and the mirror will stay down. So that's the mistake I was making. I was leaving the mirror in the lock position, cocking the shutter, and the mirror was locking back up, and I wasted actually 5 frames. Right, I hope that helps any other people that have used the Bronica for the first time. I'm sure you'll encounter this problem, but don't do what I did, waste the frames. Do what I've showed you, and you won't waste any photographs. Right, that is the end of the video, and once again, thanks for watching.